There are many traits that differentiate the average people from the top 1% and the successful people. I personally learned the most about this trait when I played professional basketball. And my mentor that I learned this trait from was Kobe Bryant. This trait that I believe that is super important, that I incorporate in everything that I do, is obsession. And I heard this quote the other day that said that if you want to buy things without looking at the price tag, you need to work without looking at the clock. And I think that this quote couldn't be more true. And the reason I think this way is because every successful person I've ever known and I ever studied is known, and all of his surroundings always said that he is the hardest worker they've ever seen. In my opinion, being obsessed means working regardless of the consequences. And that means that if you decide that you're going to do 10 outreaches a day, you're going to do them every single day, regardless if your conversion rates are 30%, 1%, 70%, or that you didn't convert at all. I'm not saying that you should do it without trying to improve yourself. If you did it for 1 month in a row and didn't get any client, it means that you're doing it wrong. But if you know that you're doing the things right, you should do them regardless of the consequences. And I can tell you about myself that when I started working out, I didn't see results for the first 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. And only after a couple of years, I started to seeing real results even when I wear my clothes on. And I know that I made significant progress, that once someone who met me later in my life asked me if I was always this big and developed. It really shocked me, because I always struggled with putting on weight and with building muscle. But when someone asked me if I was always this big, I knew that I made it. And I knew that I reached a high level that I always wanted and I always dreamed of. And the reason I reached that level was because I always worked out like my plan was, regardless of the results and regardless of what other people told me. I remember once in class that I talked with my friend about the gym. And the other kid from my class, who I didn't like at all, looked at me with shock and asked me, "What? You work out?" And when I told him that the answer was yes, he couldn't believe me. And even though he told me that, it didn't influence at all what I did, how I did it, and why I did it. I knew that even if he thinks that way, it doesn't matter. What matters is me, my goals, and what I'm going to do to achieve them. And this is what I want you to take from this video. Being obsessed means doing the things you know you need to do, regardless of how you feel and regardless of the consequences you get from them. If you manage to do that long enough, you will promise yourself the results you want. But you need to be obsessed. I use my obsession in anything that I do, also in YouTube. In the future, I'm going to have millions of subscribers. So if you want to be able to tell your friends that you are one of my earliest subscribers, now is your time. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it and subscribe to my channel.